because this orality biblical performance deal, it's a very broad, multidiscipline field, from field work to literary theory to performance theory. I mean, all of these things coming together, and mission work with trying to teach and talk with oral preference learners. I mean, it's a lot. It's kind of fun what's happening in this podcast too, is bringing these streams together, and I think we can all benefit from that. And so my stream is basically just modifying the historical grammatical approach. And so, like for instance, at the end of Mark, the centurion says, "Surely this man was the Word of God." Performance changes everything about that, right? He's watching this Jew die on a cross. Surely this guy was the Son of God, right? Or, oh, surely this was the Son of God.
Yeah.
So now, what I want to do is come in and say, hey, the way that oral traditional cultures work is they use repetition and activation. They will activate elements of the tradition. They say it with a word or phrase, and the whole thing, like a hyperlink, loaded into the community's collective brain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in Mark, you've got the baptism of Jesus, the heavens being torn apart, rent, and the Father saying, "This is my Son, in whom I'm well pleased." And then at the cross, Jesus is baptized into death. The curtain is torn in two, that separation of God and humanity, and then the centurion cites the words of God. See, that's a historical grammatical approach, but it's taking into account the text as a performance to an oral traditional culture. What do you think of that modification of the historical grammatical approach, taking into account oral traditional orality realities that then can help us safely perform the text for this deeper embodiment?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I do think that the performative orality approach has to be in conversation with the historical grammatical approach, because the historical grammatical approach is already established as one of the foundational ways of interrogating the text.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And so I think that for the legitimacy of performance criticism, it needs to at least acknowledge that reality and interact with it, and also situate itself in light of the historical grammatical approach. How does it help counter or temper the excesses of the historical grammatical approach, and how does it resonate, what it discovers, how does that resonate, and where does it collide